All right, thank you for joining today. In prior meeting, we discussed ZTNA 2.0. So today I'm going to go through and show you our capabilities and how we address the 5 areas that really fell short in ZTNA 1.0. So to get started, I kind of want to recap or kind of go over the ZTNA 1.0 and how it differed in those things and where the gaps were. So to get started, when you think about ZTNA 1.0, what was happening before is that we had brokers, access brokers, that basically brokered the access for a user, and then they handed off traffic once access was granted. Now, that violated a couple of things, and it caused a couple of gaps that we would grow to see. For example, even around that access, it was kind of an all or nothing access. Oh, okay, yeah, you can access or get access to some environment. Then we allowed it and pretty much ignored anything else that happened once that took place. Some of the differences you're going to see in ZTNA 2.0, we talked about this before. One is least privileged access. ZTNA 1.0 really violated that because we gave them complete access, keys to the castle, if you would. If it was a hotel, we gave them a key and they could get into every room. So in ZTNA 2.0, we try to implement, or we do implement, least privilege access. We also do continuous trust verification. Before, with 1.0, we would allow someone in and then we would ignore anything else that they did. They could go into any room, they could do anything when they were in that room, but we're going to continuously verify that we can trust this person that is logged in. We also do continuous security inspection. No inspection was done before. They couldn't do it in 1.0 because it really was an access broker and traffic was handed over, and now they didn't have visibility into that traffic. We also protect all data in ZTNA 2.0, again, leveraging things like DLP that wasn't leveraged in 1.0, and we secure all applications. Now, let me walk you through that, and we can start talking about how we do that. So a couple of key points to keep in place or keep in mind as we go through this is, one, we were built in the cloud. We were built to secure the cloud and to scale with the cloud. And that's because now the edge is this whole notion that the security is a perimeter or securing the perimeter. That's out the window. We got users working from home, working from coffee shops, wherever that is. We have to be able to secure and scale according to that. Now, that being said, the other thing that we want to keep in mind is that with all of these other solutions that are out there, they're all starting to leverage different things, and they're going in and thinking, hey, we're going to just proxy everybody into this or have everybody leverage the same proxy. We don't do that. We leverage a data plane isolation to ensure high performance, and also to make sure that your data and your users' data isn't being jumbled up or mixed up with other companies' data. Very important. We also leverage IPsec versus GRE, where things are being sent in clear text. And then we have this notion of something we call pre-logon, and I'm going to talk to you about that coming up soon here. So when we talk about cloud to scale, one thing that I want you to notice, and this is me logged in here into our Prisma Access, and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the different locations that we have around the world. And this is how we can do exactly what I was telling you here, which is cloud to scale. You have the ability to implement this wherever you do business. So we were built on the world's largest cloud providers with more than 100 locations worldwide. And this allows you that flexibility and the auto scaling to meet the demands of your workload wherever that is in the world. So one of the things you're able to do is when you decide to implement wherever that is, you can implement in North America because you do business in North America, and you also do business in Asia. So when we go to set it up, again, our environment is built off of virtual instances that you spin up anywhere in the world. So you can choose the location where you primarily do business to have it met and addressed in those locations. Again, back to data plane isolation, very important. And the benefit of that is really that performance, right? We get performance isolation because of that. Now, a good example, case in point, because we talk about this in this data isolation and we talk about performance, had a customer who was an auto reseller. And one of their biggest things they did for business is they had to leverage Carfax. So they would go out and part of their sales process is they would pull a Carfax from Carfax.com, but they were often blocked, like literally shut down from being able to access it, stopping their whole sales process because they were leveraging a different solution or different vendor. And in this vendor, they actually shared public IPs, public-facing IPs, and that public-facing IP, because it was shared, too many connections from the same IP were going to Carfax.com, ultimately resulting in them being blocked. So it impacted their business, and that is a risk. So again, data isolation, we have the ability to allocate public-facing IPs individually on a per customer basis. Very important. So as we talk about implementing and going in and allocating those IP addresses, again, you're able to choose your location, you have your own public facing IP, but how do you consume us? How is that set up? So we have 3 different ways you can consume us. The most common deployment model is really by leveraging our agent, and we can install that on multiple endpoints, whether that's Windows, Mac, Linux, Chrome, or Android. If that's not an option for you, or you decide to go a different route, we can also leverage our network hardware integration with routers, or we can use SD-WAN devices that you put at different branch locations. Now, in this, we also leverage IPsec. Again, I think I talked about this earlier. A lot of other vendors leverage GRE. We don't do that. It's clear text. With IPsec, we can do that continuous data inspection, but also encrypt data that's being passed. Very important. Finally, if you do not leverage SD-WAN or you don't have users who can leverage an agent, we can do explicit proxy by leveraging pack files configured on the host that can redirect that traffic no matter where that host is to connect back into our services. So remember earlier when I told you about pre-logon? Let me get here. I want to show you this. If we go into our mobile users, let me look here. Log on, mobile users. I want to show you my mobile user list because this is important. This does something that you'll find no one else does, and I like this because it allows us to go back to those tenets we talked about before, which is that continuous inspection of security inspection and that continuous trust verification and protecting all of that data. Notice here, we have a user called pre-logon and they're leveraging a certificate. So in pre-logon, what we do is when a client boots up their system, not log on, but when that system boots up and it connects to Wi-Fi or what have you, we establish a connection leveraging this hardware certificate, an IPsec tunnel that allows us to talk to that device to push out hardware updates, to put in new packages if we need to assess their security posture before the user ever even logs on. That's a game changer. And the reason why is because now we're able to inspect traffic. So for example, if you had command and control that was taking place or calls that were going out that were happening upon startup or something like that, we can block those right away. Before that user even logged in, we were able to block and see that. Very important. And that is the game changer. That is zero trust or ZTNA 2.0. And those are the differences. So again, to reiterate, least privilege, access, continuous trust inspection. Another example, and I hadn't really shown you this, and this is something I could show you in another demo. If you had a user who decides to turn off their antivirus, we can see that and we can stop access to the internet immediately. Now you say, oh, other tools and other systems can do that, but here's where it differs. We also, because we're continuously inspecting, the minute they turn it back on, the minute they come back into compliance, we can turn it back on and allow them to access once their security posture is corrected. So that's a game changer, something we can show you in a future demo. But I appreciate your time today, and thank you very much. I think this is the switch you need to make. Please take a look at it and allow me to come back and show you more about how we can enable you with ZTNA 2.0.